Okay, freshman students, we're going to run through a few slides here to talk to you a little bit about one-to-one at the high school, some important things to know, and some important changes that have taken effect, not only because you're in the high school, but because we've progressed here a year, and we've come up with some new things, and we found some new programs to support what we do. Um, so really quickly, why are we talking about this now? Why during your freshman seminar? Why is it that we need to really go over this? Because many of you have been doing this for quite a while in terms of having one-to-one in your classes. This is going on year 3 for you, or is year 3 for you now. So you probably feel like you don't need training. But the reality is there's a lot of new stuff that we've really been talking about that it would be very beneficial for you to hear. And it would be to your benefit to pay attention for a little bit here. A couple things to bring up. Number one, we have a new security tool in terms of the filtering that we have on your devices that changes the way that you can use YouTube, Google, and a lot of other things. I want to talk to you about that. And we also want to remind you about some important things related to appropriate use. In appropriate use from 3 contexts. First, in terms of appropriate care of your device. Second, in terms of the way that you deal with and interact with other students electronically. And then finally, in terms of how you use this for educational gains, because that's really what this is all about. It's all about educational gains, or as I would like to put it a little bit more clearly, we are here to help every student to become the best version of them that they are capable of becoming. It's a pretty simple statement. Maybe it sounds goofy, maybe you think it sounds cheesy, but that's the reality. That's what we're here for. We want every one of you to be the best version of you that you can become. And really, we see technology as being a key in that process. So we want to make sure that you do it and use it the right way. So a couple quick things. Let's talk a little bit about the protection plan agreement. You've already seen the user agreement. You've had to sign that before. There really isn't a lot of significant changes to that. If you need to revert back and look at that, please check out your student handbook for the high school. But the one that I want to talk about really quickly here is the insurance protection plan agreement. And I want to talk to you about it because there have been a number of people who have been opting out, and I think that's a really, really bad decision, just to be very straightforward and open with you. The insurance protection plan, just so you know, it is $30. It covers you from breaks that are accidental. And we've also added in a stipulation where if one is lost, it does not cost full price for you, but instead is a lesser amount at $200. But just so that you're clear on that, we have to know immediately for that to be in place. And then we also will make the device inoperable. So just a couple little clarifying points there. But nonetheless, general care, make sure you take care of your device. In terms of breaks, we don't want to see those. We saw some examples of kids breaking more than one because of treating it inappropriately. That would be a really bad decision to do that moving forward. That's something we really want to crack down on this year. And this also includes the cases. I want this to be very clear as well. We had a ton of cases that we had to replace at the end of last year. If a case comes back at the end of this school year and it is ripped apart, that will be a charge to you because that is unnatural. And I'll tell you, I've seen many kids peeling away the cases. The cases aren't cheap either, so I would suggest that you take care of your case. Please don't put stickers on, but if you would like to change your case out to get a keyboard case, you are more than welcome to do that. That is your prerogative. Just keep in mind that if you do get a case that is less protective, then you are putting yourself at risk for breaks. Now, speaking of breaks, with the insurance protection plan agreement that I'm suggesting that you opt into, it is $30 and that covers you for the year. For the first break, if there's a second break, you would have to pay a deductible of $30 for every break thereon after. But to put this into perspective, with the iPads that we currently have, we're looking at between $150 and $180 for screen replacements. So, if you are one of those kids who does break their device, and I think we had 150 breaks last year, grades 5 through 8, which is a decent number, right? That's pretty high. So if you are one of those kids who does happen to break your device, you would be protected from having to pay an exorbitant fee. So I would suggest that you opt in. If you did not opt in yet, you are able to still turn in a form and a check to opt in. That would all go to the Smart Desk, which we'll cover here in a few minutes. Next, educational use. This guy right here watching Justin Bieber videos, probably not the best use of his educational time, and that's something that I think a lot of kids got in the habit of at times last year was getting distracted, whether it be with a game like 2048 or something else. maybe even watching a video at a time that was kind of like a non a non-organized time, something like period 7. But regardless, we want to make sure that you are using your devices for educational use only. So whether it be music videos or games, the reality is they don't belong, and those uses do not fit into class and into learning periods. But we want this to be very clear this year as well. Even on your free time and at home, your school device is not to be used for that at all. We want that to be very clear. We are able to monitor much more closely this year, and I'll show you how in a few minutes. But this device is for educational school use only. Please don't deviate from that. Cheating is something that's not going to be tolerated, and I want to give you a little bit of perspective with this because we do know that there have been some kids who have tried to do this over the years, using Shobi. So let's say a child says, oh, I'm just going to turn in somebody else's work to Shobi. I want you to keep in mind that Shobi and anything else that you do electronically, whether it be sending an email, working on Google Docs, or even if you want to get more philosophical here and we want to get to something a little bit deeper, what you do personally, whether it be Instagram, Snapchat, whatever other app of the day that we have for social media, all of these things offer the ability, whether you want to believe it or not, they offer the ability to leave an electronic trail of what you've done. Now, to get back to the main point here, if we're talking about Shobi, and we're talking about how your work is permanent, I want you to imagine what happens when you turn in work that is not yours on Shobi. You turn it in and you leave it permanently attached where a teacher could go back at any point in time and look at it, and teachers will. So while a teacher might not check every assignment every single day, there will be a time when you will not be able to get away with this. And while it seems kind of silly to focus on that side of things because cheating is just flat out wrong and it's just a bad decision overall because you're not learning, and that's really the whole point of doing homework anyways, I want it to be clear that even if you're not motivated by the right things, which is just doing the right thing and helping yourself long term, keep in mind that if you get caught plagiarizing, that's a pretty significant punishment, and it's not a joke at all at this level, and that's something really, really important to know. And again, these things leave paper trails. You send an email to somebody, there's a record for eternity of that email that you've sent from your device. If you do something inappropriate on Google Docs, there's a record for eternity on Google Docs. And the same thing holds true for things, even Snapchat, where it says it's going to disappear. If somebody has a phone, they can take a picture of it, and it's there forever. No iPad areas. Where can you not take it? It should never go in a restroom. It should never go in a locker room unless it is locked up because you have practice or something of that sort. And you should never be taking pictures of people without their express permission. If you do not have their permission, you are not allowed. It's a very simple policy. Permission means that you ask clearly. Disabling somebody else's iPad, typing in their passcode wrong, anything to those effects, those are things that would be specific punishments, and they would just be immediate office referrals. So just so that's clear as well. Downloading apps, as you know, is with self-service. Make sure that you have self-service up and running because that's something we've had some issues with. If it's not working for you right now, I would suggest to delete it and then do a hard reset of your device and then wait one day. If it does not show up by the end of that one day, then you can go down to the smart desk and they will help you out to get it installed. The 3 fixes, real quick review: double tap on the home button, which is in the front of your device, and then swipe up with your finger. That's a quick way to reset an app, and that oftentimes fixes any issues that you've had. Another one, to reset the wireless, because sometimes you just need your wireless to reset. I suggest turning on airplane mode, leave it on for 3 seconds, then turn it back off. Essentially all it does is it disconnects your wireless and Bluetooth, and then it will reconnect them afterward, and that oftentimes can help as well. If it's frozen and you've got some big issues, if you hold in the front button and the top button together, you can perform what's called a hard reset. You have to hold it for about 10 seconds. Typically, you won't need to do this. Typically, if you just simply, I'm going to back up here. If you just hold in the top button for a few seconds, you'll have a menu here that will say swipe to power off. You can do that. If you leave it powered off for a few seconds and turn it back on, that resets the internet, it resets all of your apps, and it might help if there is an issue going on your device. For repairs and damages, we don't want anybody doing anything on their own with this. If you have any issues, please go to the high school smart desk. It's located in the library right by the entrance over here to the resource center. There are students there who do a ton of work for the district in terms of helping with devices, and many of these students even work for the district over the summer to help out. So they have an extensive knowledge of how to fix things, and there will be people either at the desk or on call during all periods of the day. So if you need to go here, if you need help, this is the place to go. Really quick things. Your passcode in the past, we try to control it and have that as something specific. It's up to you what you would like to make it. You choose. Just know that teachers can change it, can remove it if needed, and they have the right. Again, they have the right to unlock it if they would like, and that's something that they'll gain the ability to do later on. And I just want to re-emphasize this whole intentionally inputting the wrong code thing. Don't want to see that at all. Do not want to see that at all. Oh, and I'll point out this as well, because I already had this once this year, where a student tried to continually type in the wrong passcode because they thought that they could guess it eventually. If you can't guess it after 5 guesses, you don't know it. Let's call it what it is. Please go to the smart desk, have them clear the passcode. It takes literally 30 seconds to do it. It's a very simple process. Otherwise, if you keep typing it in wrong, it will reset your device or require you to reset your device, and it's a major pain. So please don't put yourself in that mode. If your iPad is lost, please stop at the smart desk immediately. And when I say immediately, I mean immediately, because we need to be able to find it. One of the things that we've seen is that people don't tell us for a week, and then the iPad battery has drained, we can't use Find My iPad, and it becomes a bigger problem. If you can report it quickly, the quicker the better. On to the new filters. So let's say that you have a video that pops up with this. So our tech department used this video as our little sample. And let's say that it says the video is restricted and must be approved for you to view it. This is something new, because in the past you had access to YouTube. You no longer do. And I want to point out a couple things. Number one, this up here is actually a link. You may need to click on it, because sometimes this pops up now, and all you really need to do is click on the link, and it will actually play. But oftentimes it won't, and that's because we actually have restricted videos, so they won't even show up in a YouTube search, and that's what we would like. Some of the other changes that have occurred have been that we have turned Safe Search as a requirement to be on in Google, and you cannot change that. And also, when it comes to Google image searching, we have it labeled for non-commercial use with reuse, with modification, which means it has a Creative Commons license and protects you from plagiarism challenges and issues, but also it limits out some of the junk that you would typically get. For those of you who are Google searching, if you ever see this page come up and it says you searched a block search term, just so you know, 2 things. Number 1, we can block specific terms so that you can't even get any results. Number 2, when you search a term like that, it sends it to us and says this person searched this blocked term. So just so it's clear, if you start trying to get into things you shouldn't, there is a paper trail and a record. So what we actually have here is securely, this is a picture of the administrator portal, but what I can do and what the others can do is they can go in and they can just start looking at what is called an audit trail, and we can look at it by a lot of different things. We can look by student, we can look by just in general, what have people been searching, what websites have they been going to, and we even have the ability to turn on, okay, tell me what this person looked at that was approved, and then if I flip it over, it turns red, it has the thumbs down, and also I can search by what the person has searched that is blocked. And again, I want you to keep in mind the permanence of this. This is going to be tied to your uscstudents.org account, and it has a lot of your usage history in here, so you don't want to be getting into doing things you shouldn't do, because again, it holds the record of it long term. So as I gave an example, here's some search terms and here's some websites that are visited. So these are things that were popping up. I blocked out the student name. We can also see the thumbs down. Here are the terms that were searched that were blocked that shouldn't have been searched. And it tells us what they were, and it also tells us even the exact time. And that's important to understand, because if it tells us the exact time, I can tell, and we can tell, if you're up to no good in the middle of a class. So please don't make that something that we have to deal with. We also want you to know as well that parents have the ability to keep up with what you're doing now a little bit more. We're beta testing this, so it's still early on. We don't have all the parents in. But what parents can get for now, if they're beta testing, is an email every week about what you've done on your device in terms of the internet. In the future, they'll have the same dashboard access where they can start searching and doing all kinds of other things. So again, be aware that your history and what you're doing on your device is being monitored, not only at school, but it will be monitored at home as well, or at least the ability will be there for your parents to do so. And something else that's pretty cool that we're going to be introducing to teachers here pretty soon is something called Apple Classroom Manager, which would make it so that your teacher could actually come in, and let's say this is you, they could tap on your name, and then they could see your screen. And they can actually see what you're doing right now. So for those of you who may have gotten off task in class before, this will be something the teachers can use to make sure you are on task. And on to the last topic here, paper or electronic. So in your individual classes, you will have the option of paper, or let me rephrase that. You will have some activities that are paper, some that are electronic, and some that involve choice. When it comes to some assignments, they just fit better in certain areas. Like let's say that the majority of your note-taking guides, you could do that on paper or electronically, and that means you will have the choice to do so. There are going to be some assignments, though, where it might be best to use paper and some where it might be best to use technology. And when that occurs, it is up to the teacher's discretion to determine whether or not paper copies or electronic versions should be made available. What the guidance that we have provided teachers with is that we want them to give choice where it fits. Okay, and in reality, there are going to be many times where it doesn't fit to give the option, right? You can't say everybody is turning in an assignment on Shobi, but I'm just going to turn it on paper. That wouldn't really work. But you could, however, say I'm going to complete it on paper and then take a picture of it or PDF it and send it into Shobi that way. That's totally fine, right? So I guess the whole point that I want to make here is make sure that you understand that you do have a choice where it fits, but there will be some activities that either are going to require paper or require electronic use, and that's the nature of school, and that's really the way things have been forever and ever and ever. And if you even think back to before iPads, you still had class periods where you had laptops come in, and you still had class periods where you went to a computer lab. Kind of the same idea. Looking ahead here for you, make sure that you're charging this every night. Make sure you're working on that. And if you would like any further support, here are a couple different resources I would like to provide for you. Number one, we have some checklists, one from this specific video, another from a different video, and they are all housed here in Blended Schools on a class site that is called iPad Training. If you come to this specific site, you will find Review Training 1 and Review Training 2. These were sent to all students at 4Couch in 6th grade. So there are a couple videos, a couple checklists that might help to make sure you're up to date here with some of the things you're doing. Something else, though, that we have on here in case this is of interest, if we have any new students or any students who just over the summer you forgot how to use your iPad. There are some videos and tutorials that we have available to you that you can access that are from this website as well. These are videos that were made by Mr. Henderson of Boyce, and they go through the basics of using an iPad, of setting up and using Notability, of using Blended Schools, Gmail, Shobi, Google Drive, all of those good things. So if you would like to use those, you have those at your discretion and they are available to you. So feel free to use those if you would like. So that is the end of this quick video here. I know that I spoke quickly, but hopefully we got out some important information. The key thing that we want you to know is we're here to help you to become the best version of you. Technology is included in that when it is used right, and that's the key. We need to make sure that you're using it right, and we want you to make the most of your educational experiences and understand that you are in charge of it. So when it comes to using your iPad, please make sure you use it the right way. And if you have any questions or concerns, you have the Smart Desk that's in the library. You obviously have your guidance counselors and principals as well. But there are a lot of people here to help you out. And we all want to make sure that you have a great experience at the high school. So good luck with that, and please let us know if you have any questions or concerns.